Hey everyone, welcome to Mrs. Cook's room. This is our next video. We are going to talk about mask breaks. We're going to talk about what they are, when we're going to have them, and what they may look like. So first things first, mask breaks. I have not set a requirement to teachers saying you have to give mask breaks every so often. I am leaving that up to the teacher because it is very dependent on what you are doing in the classroom. It also depends about how your behavior is in the classroom, which we're going to get through shortly. So Mrs. Cook's been gracious enough to let me have this space to video. She's actually sitting right here. Say hi, Mrs. Cook.
Hello, welcome back.
So her room is a classic way that a classroom is going to be set up this year. She is using social distancing guidelines to make sure that students can be spread out as far as possible. Now, with your personalized shields, it has made it available that students can sit within 3 feet from each other. However, when that is the case, we are always shooting to get 6 foot apart. So in her classroom, how it's set up, she's got basically a chair at a table. So we've got good social distancing going on in this room. So when you're in this classroom and Mrs. Cook is going over a lesson and she's saying, hey, Timmy, what's the answer to number 5? And Timmy knows the answer. Good job, Timmy. That kind of dialogue requires a mask to be on. When we speak is when we spread droplets, basically spit, and that can be spread to other people. And that's the nice thing about our masks is they catch all of that right in this general region, which makes it gross after a while if you talk a lot. But for your case, that is not a mask break time. A mask break time is when you're sitting at your table, you've got your shield up, and you are working on independent homework, quiet work at your desk. Mrs. Cook is going to say, hey everyone, 10-minute mask break. And what that means is for 10 minutes, you can take your mask down if you can remain quiet. There are a few things to understand about mask breaks. The reason why 10 minutes or less is we are taking the CDC and health department's guidelines to say that if we can social distance and we cannot talk and we can refrain from talking for that time period, you do not need to wear a mask. Now, in some of your classes, they may be bigger. And you may have someone sitting right next to you. There may be a seat here, and there may be a seat here. That teacher may say, hey, students seating in seat A can take a mask break for 5 minutes. That does not mean both of you take a mask break, and it certainly means that you do not talk, okay? If you're chatty and you like to talk a lot, guess what's not going to happen a lot? Mask breaks. Now, if your teacher says, if you can be quiet, you can have a mask break for 5 minutes, then guess what? You take it down and you're quiet for 5 minutes. Let your face breathe, dry it out, okay? But it's important that you don't talk. Mask breaks are an important part of our day. It's something that we're really striving to have, but a lot of it is dependent on what we're doing in class that day. There's a lot of talking required. We're not going to have a lot of mask breaks. And if you can remain quiet as well. If you want to talk to your friends, you're probably not going to get a mask break. Now, another way that we're doing mask breaks is all of the teachers are looking about how we can take our classrooms like this and how we can go out there. And what we're doing, all the teachers are coming up with plans to say, okay, if we go outside, can we teach class without wearing masks? And again, this is very dependent on you. It's also dependent on social distancing, because social distancing guidelines that I have read have said that you need to remain 12 feet apart if you are going to have conversation. Not yelling, not screaming, 12 feet apart. So to give you an idea, this is about 6 feet apart. I'm 6 feet from the camera, which doesn't really add up sometimes. And then 12 feet is about right here. I'm about halfway across the classroom. There's no way that we can do 12 feet apart in the classroom. We've got just enough kids that that's impossible. But if Mrs. Cook says, hey guys, let's go outside, we'll do our ELA reading outside. We're going to have chairs available. She'll probably go find a really nice shady space, and you need to spread out. okay? And if you're not sure what 12 feet looks like, Mrs. Cook kind of knows a little bit about distance and measuring. She can kind of go. But if you go outside, same rules really apply. Minimal talking, spread out as far as possible, and that you're doing your work. If we're going outside and you're just using it as like, hey, can I go play basketball, Mrs. Cook? Hey, can we race, Mrs. Cook? And she's not able to get done what she needs done, she's probably not going to take you outside. So make sure that you're using that time wisely. That when you're outside, that you're doing the work that you need to work. So if you have any other questions about mass breaks, all of your teachers are very familiar with our policy, what you need to do. Now is the time to ask them some questions, and that you guys can have a little dialogue about what wearing a mask and getting mass breaks looks like in your classrooms.